Topline podcast episode 3. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching, you may notice we're in a little bit of a different location outside today on a balcony. Really kind of hoping that this won't impact the sound. But if you hear a wind blow, a bird chirp, a construction noise, please forgive me. This is obviously not a permanent setup. To give you a little peek behind the curtain here, just moved back to Los Angeles. So kind of getting my bearings. Hopefully sometime soon I'll have like a more permanent setup for the show. Also, we're doing vertical video today. Honestly, just because it makes it easier for me to convert this to short form. It's not like tons of people are watching this on YouTube anyway. But thank you very much if you are. I hope that you can tolerate this probably temporary a setup. And you know, the thing is though, is that the podcast is sort of supposed to be like the more casual arm of Topline, you know, like, I still want it to feel professional, especially in the longer run. Like, you know, I have big guest ambitions and things like that. And with that, I'll have to kind of professionalize this a little bit. Bear with me though. I kind of like the down-to-earth nature of the podcast. And with all that intro out of the way, let's jump into the chart recap. Not a ton of interesting stuff happening on the charts this week, but the big kind of interesting chart of the week is definitely the Billboard 200. Most notably because Cardi B debuts at number 1 with Am I the Drama, 200,000 units. Not a bad performance at all. It's up a fair bit from the earliest projections, as streaming has been relatively consistent on this one, and she's released a few other kind of extra droplet singles, I guess sort of a deluxe, although it's been a little bit less formal than that, sort of dropping things here and there, adding to what I would call a messy rollout. But again, in terms of the numbers, this is paying off for them. 200K is nothing to scoff at. It's not a killer performance. Invasion of Privacy, her debut, did like 250K, I believe. 255 first week. So down a bit from that, but like I don't think that that's a surprise for anyone. This album didn't have any hits going into it. Well, it did have, of course, WAP and Up, which are included, on the album. But those, aren't streaming crazy anymore. So in terms of like first week sales, probably aren't accountable for like a huge boost. Of course, they did push it very, very quickly to platinum status. That is something that I've talked negatively about, that I will eye roll about. But again, for an artist like Cardi B, where kind of these like sales figures get talked about, are probably kind of important, more than like some artist who's really has. Not to say that Cardi B doesn't have artistic integrity, but like for an artist that is really kind of doing it just for the art, I think Cardi would say herself that she wants the sales, she wants these numbers. So 200K, not too shabby. I imagine it'll probably have a relatively heavy drop off the following week. Let me actually look here. What if this album is charting on US Spotify still, if any? Looks like nothing is. Although I mean. This was always in Apple Music. It's hip hop. It's Cardi B. It's always going to do better on Apple Music. Let's see. Oh yeah, Safe with Kehlani is at number 5 on Apple Music still. Magnets at number 7. Pretty and Petty is at number 9. Hello's at number 14. Dead is at number 17. So this one's still streaming pretty well on Apple Music. That'll help it out. Second week, it'll probably stick around the top 10. I'll be curious to see those numbers. But 200K, not too shabby nonetheless. Made a video a couple days after this came out, kind of saying it was underperforming, which it was, and this still isn't like some kind of killer performance. It also hasn't really produced a hit. I don't think Safe is looking like it's really going to become that. We'll see. Not too close to call, simply too early to call. Regardless, congratulations to Cardi. And then KPop Demon Hunters at number 2 again this week with 104K. Actually, I say at number 2. Yeah, number 2 again. Yeah, they were at number 2 last week as well. Great numbers on that. It's holding really steady. Golden is just massive. I mean, the streaming on that, if you've been following, like it is just absolutely killer. Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, it drops to number 3. No, not drops, stays. I'm kind of all over the place right now. Stays at number 3 with 90K. And Sabrina, Carpenter's Man's Best Friend, stays at number 4 with 69K. What an apt number for Sabrina. And then this is really kind of the other interesting thing happening on the chart this week is 9 Inch Nails, their new Tron album for the new Tron movie, did 45K first week, debuting at number 5. That's a really good performance. I did not have this one on my radar as, one to kind of watch for on this chart. Obviously, 9 Inch Nails, big. Their soundtracks have been very successful before. I suppose I just didn't know that the hype for this movie was there. Is this all 9 Inch Nails fans? I frankly haven't checked this out. I haven't actually seen any of the Tron movies. I should probably get educated. Check out this one. People are clearly tuned in. Then Alex Warren up a spot to number 6 with You'll Be Alright Kid, 35K. SZA also up a spot with SOS, 33K. Morgan Wallen at number 8 again with One Thing at a Time, just like last week, 32K. Justin Bieber with Swag down 3 spots, 32K. So kind of not the most interesting chart here, other than those two relatively interesting debuts. And then lastly, we have Bad Bunny at number 10 with 32K. That's up 3 spots back into the top 10. A good week for Bad Bunny, as I will be talking about later. Cool to see him in the top 10. This album's been crazy consistent, which, is kind of the story on this chart these days, is these long-time streamers. We'll see about next week. We'll see if Cardi can stick around. We'll see if this Tron album sticks around as well. I'll be really curious about that, actually. And then also, of course, we have the Doja Cat album to look out for. We have the Young Thug album to look out for. I'm expecting a top 10 debut for both of those for sure. Olivia Dean too. I don't know if she's gonna. She could get a top 10 actually. I mean, her album was streaming pretty well. Yeah, I think actually we could see a top 10 debut from her. I mean, we'll see. So should be some interesting stuff next week. Kind of spent a while on this chart because the song charts this week, both global and US, are really boring. I will jump into the Hot 100 here quick, but there's honestly nothing to say about this chart this week. Just to kind of cruise through it. HUNTR with Golden at number 1, Alex Warren's Ordinary at number 2, Soda Pop at number 3, Morgan Wallen and Tate McRae, What I Want at number 4, Your Idol at number 5, Manchild, Sabrina Carpenter number 6. That's down 3 spots. That song continues to drop a little bit. And I've been surprised to see Tears not being more stable, more consistent, to be honest with you. Wonder if we'll see When Did You Get Hot kind of creep up this chart. If it can continue to hold on streaming. I talked about that one last week, how it's kind of emerged as a clear favorite. It's outstreaming Tears and Manchild, at least in the US. So we'll see if that one kind of creeps up, especially if it gets a real single push, a radio push, a music video, anything like that. Teddy Swims Lose Control, up 2 spots to number 7. I can't believe this song is rising. A few weeks ago, this one was out of the top 10. I was going on and on about how we finally got this song out of the top 10. Teddy, this has been the longest hit ever. Oh my gosh, it's out. Then it was up to number 9 last week, and now it's up 2 more spots to number 7. People aren't ready to let it go. I think this song is fine, but its run has been absolutely ridiculous. I'm ready to see this one. Just ready to see this one go. I mean, this whole chart needs a shake up at the moment. Number 8, Daisies, at the same spot, Justin Bieber. Number 9, Ravyn Lenae's Love Me Not, down 2 spots. I have a feeling that one's kind of a summer moment. Probably is on its way out now. It had a great run, though. And then Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Die With a Smile, up a spot to number 10, back in the top 10 this week. Hoping that we see Man I Need, Olivia Dean, creep into this top 10, because it's a smash. It's a smash on streaming. Of course, streaming isn't everything. But I'll definitely be watching for that because it's done pretty well. It's done better on the global chart. And speaking of the global chart, let's move on to that. Again, there's actually not much to say here at all. The one thing I wanted to kind of mention here is that there's a new song by Kenshi Yonezu, I believe, Iris Out. Please forgive my pronunciation. It's up 10. No, it's up up a lot. It was at 32 last week. So this is its top 10 debut. Its second week on the chart. And again, this one was not on my radar. This is why I don't really focus on the global chart, because I'm just not like super duper tapped into kind of what's going on in pop more globally. So when I saw this chart, I was like, oh, what is this song? And it's interesting because, yeah, like I said, it hasn't crossed my radar. It's actually not charting on the global top 50 on Spotify. But I guess that it's tied to a movie. This is kind of my research, my limited research. So there's probably people who know much more about this song. I feel like I'm not the authority to speak on it, but I have to kind of just give it a light intro. It's in a movie called Chainsaw Man, which maybe that movie's doing really well. Streaming's pretty good. 45 million worldwide, 19,000. Streaming up 105%. So that's clearly accounting for some of its activity. And it is his highest charting hit. Good for him. And then he also tracked Kickback from Chainsaw Man Season 1. Again, I'm not familiar with this Chainsaw Man. But cool. Keep an eye on this one. Wonder if it'll hang out. The animated work is producing hits these days. And with that said, that's the chart this week. Again, there's just not a ton to say. I wish I had more to comment on with this chart, but it's not that interesting this week. So, moving right along, got a couple of great topics to talk about. First and really kind of probably foremost, the top headline in pop this week: Bad Bunny headlining the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. Kind of caught me by surprise. Just didn't really have him on my radar, and it's cool to see. Obviously, he is arguably the biggest pop star in the world, depending on what metric you are using. Not as big in the continental U.S., although of course very big in Puerto Rico. I think this is cool. I like Bad Bunny. I like his songs. Now listen, I thought it was going to be Miley or Justin. That's where I would have put my bets, and frankly, I would have preferred them. Not because I think that they're better artists or anything like this. I think Bad Bunny's very deserving. This is not Bad Bunny hate. Although I do think that the best Super Bowl halftime performers, what makes a great Super Bowl halftime show, okay? First and foremost, like, probably the most important thing is having hits, which of course Bad Bunny does have hits. What he doesn't really have is these kind of like ubiquitous smash hits where everyone in the United States of America knows those songs, which is not to take away from his stardom. Again, I know that there are plenty of places in the world where everyone knows these songs. Does the average NFL watcher know Bad Bunny songs? I don't think so. Do they know any Bad Bunny songs? Plenty do, I'm sure. I think also, though, most don't. That's where I kind of slightly, I'm like, okay. Probably wouldn't have been my pick. However, I have no doubt that he's going to put on a great show. He's made appearances at the halftime show before. And I'm sure it'll be a joy to watch. I will be defending him probably because I think he'll have his fair share of dissenters here once the actual show airs. There was rumors early on that it was going to be Taylor, but then there was some kind of report that came out that said that Taylor wanted to be. Don't take my word for this, but I think there was some report that indicated that the NFL/Apple Music couldn't meet Team Taylor's demands, which presumably involved some kind of payment. If you don't know, I believe since Madonna, the Super Bowl halftime performer has not been paid for the Super Bowl halftime show. You're paid in exposure. You're paid to have arguably the biggest stage in the world. I don't know Bad Bunny's contract, but there was some earlier on. There was some kind of rumor that Taylor was headlining, and that fell through due to some contract negotiation issues. Regardless, I'll be tuned in. I'll be excited. Again, like I said, I like Bad Bunny. I don't have any problem with it. I'm sure I'll have some cool guests. Again, like I said, I just wish it was somebody who we could all sing along to. Like, even as I like Bad Bunny, I know a lot of Bad Bunny songs. I can't really necessarily. I can sing along a little bit to Titi Me Pregunta. Wait, you guys. I don't speak. I never took a day of Spanish in my life. Please ignore. I wish I didn't even attempt that. Wait, also, is that even what that song is called? Oh yeah, Titi Me Pregunto. Is that good pronunciation? Please correct me. I could also sing along to Mi Porto Bonito. Shout out Bad Bunny, yo. Next up, wanted to touch on the Lola Young stuff, which is a little bit like more gossipy than what I normally go for. I like to kind of keep it to the numbers, keep it to that. Whereas this is, if you don't know, Lola Young recently fainted on stage during a performance at All Things Go. Lots of videos, viral videos. This comes after, this is not the first incident like this recently. At another festival recently, I don't remember which festival it was, but Lola Young, she like ran off stage to puke. There's been a couple of different kind of related incidents. She posted something a couple days before that was just indicating she was really tired. And this has kind of sparked a discourse about how pop stars are overworked. I'm not here to deny that that's true or can be true. I'm not totally convinced that that's what's going on here. In any case, my heart goes out to Lola Young. I haven't made a video about her or talked much about her. But like, I think she's a cool star in many ways. I love that she's been able to really become pretty successful. I mean, obviously Messi is huge. Like him with Tyler is huge. But I think the thing that I like the most about her is that, one, she seems to have really kind of captured people's hearts. Her album wasn't posting huge numbers in the US or something like that, but like you see people talking about her, posting about her, even with this incident. Like there was so much buzz around this on socials. And I think that indicates like a real interest in Lola. She does seem real. She's down to earth. Her voice is good. I haven't totally jumped on the Lola train. I think just because the sound it's not totally for me. I think what people like about it is that it's a little bit rough around the edges, messy, if you will, and that's not necessarily my choice in pop. But I like Dealer. I like a lot of the album, and wanted to say I hope she's doing well. I hope she's okay. Always got to root for the new pop girls, whoever new in pop, and she's really one of those voices. Shout out Lola Young. And last but not least, just kind of wanted to talk about some more general like what's going on in pop. There's been a lot of like pop releases this year. Can you hear that helicopter? I hope not too well. This is a big week in pop. It was a big release week in pop, and I've already talked about almost all of these next couple artists this week. But I wanted to discuss them again a little bit more naturally, candidly, not just about the numbers. First of all, the Doja Cat album. It's sad to watch this album underperform the way it is. It makes you wonder, like, did Doja ever have that kind of fan base? And this is a sense that I've had for a while. I remember feeling this during her Coachella performance, which was really stellar, a really cool show. She's a good performer. But there was just like, forgive me for this kind of crass language, but there was just a sense that nobody really cared. Of course, people did care, but it wasn't Doja-chella. Everyone posts for Doja-chella. And ever since then, you kind of go, and also with the performance of Scarlet, which that album, also upon release, despite having Paint the Town Red, which gave it a big release week boost that this album doesn't have. There's no hits on this album as of yet. It's like, are that many people really tuned in for the Doja album, or was Doja's hype always kind of largely sustained by these kind of streaming hits? That's the sense I get. I mean, Planet Her era was maybe the most massive pop record of the year. I'm not saying like it was the most massive pop record of the year by the numbers, but in terms of like, whoa, look at this, look at her, Doja Cat is really doing the damn thing. And to see that not sustained for her is disappointing, because I do think that of the new pop girls, like, she really has it. Including on this album. And with that said, I didn't really like this album very much. I haven't really been streaming it either, with the exception of Gorgeous and Make It Up. I love those songs. Like, love them. Truly love them. I think they're like maybe her two best songs, and Jealous Type as well. Although I just played that a lot when it first came out. It should have been a hit. And Gorgeous should be a hit too. It's again, it's sad. Like, wow, people are just not tuned in. Fingers crossed that she can do her Doja thing and have a kind of a late bloomer moment with one of these. That does tend to be her style, but as I said in the video I made about this, like, that didn't happen for Jealous Type. And I think people are quick to be like, well, Doja's a grower, and it's like, that's true, but like, will it happen? Like, this, like, it's easy to say that when things are underperforming, but like, you can't bank on that. It hasn't been always true for her. We'll see what happens. But just wanted to mention that album because it's a big pop release of the year. And I have been streaming Tit for Tat by Tate McRae constantly. I really like it. I knew it when I first heard it. I was like, okay, this song's okay, but I think I'm going to like it more when I listen to it more. And I couldn't have been more right. I really love this track. The little tag at the end of the hook, right now, I'm not even about you. Love that. It's just killer. And then the kind of chanting chorus they have, like the gang vocal chorus, is really dope. The Tour album I've been listening to a lot. The new Aries track, Wichita Blues, is so killer. Aries is like one of my favorite pop boys. And he is a classic case where his fans probably don't even want to call him a pop boy. But if he leaned into his pop boy capabilities, he'd be unstoppable. I mean, Wichita Blues, this is a great pop song. It looks like he's kind of rolling out some kind of new record here. Also with his single from earlier, The Summer, Sleepwalker with Break-Ins, which I was a little bit more lukewarm on. I think this new one's, I like it even better. I've been with Aries since back in the day. The kind of first way I got into music actually was as a producer, quote unquote, on my school iPad, producing trap beats. And at that time, Aries was a YouTuber, mainly doing YouTube tutorials or like kind of beat making on YouTube. That's really how he got his start. I loved him then, and I've been following him since he started his artist project. It's been cool to see it really land for him. But like, I'm ready for Aries Imperial era. Okay. He's like, there's so many pop boys that I'm like, oh, I just need you to, just come on, lock in. Let's make it happen. Him, Nate Sib comes to mind too, like Two Hollis, like all these artists who are like really cool male pop artists who are kind of like they want to have a little edge to them. How can I blame them? Like, they should do what they should lean into their artistry. But, as a little like numbers nerd, I'm like, okay, can you make a radio pop album? And last but not least is our Larson record, which I haven't really been too tapped into. Made a kind of a negative video about that. Sorry to the Zara fans. Love Midnight Sun, the single, just keeps growing on me though. I love that song, and I've had Girls Girl from this album on repeat. That's a killer song. I saw some people hating on that song. I'm like, how could you hate this song? This is probably the best song on the album. So just kind of wanted to do a roundup of all the pop releases this week. This was not my strongest episode, okay? I'm just gonna be honest. Like I said, I moved to LA this week, so I'm getting my bearings. But I didn't want to go without providing, without staying consistent here. And again, sooner than later, I hope to make this a much more robust show. Regardless, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with me. And I'll see you next week, hopefully with some awesome with some awesome stuff to talk about. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.